Welcome to another session of Microsoft Excel. Till now, we have been learning about in various ways how to create charts, how to use formulas, how to input data in cells. Now we will be learning about how to format cells. So this will be a very particular formatting that we are going to be learning specifically, which is related to cells and not rows and columns. Each and every cell can be designed and changed as per your requirement, and we will be learning that. So the first thing that we will be learning is about adding cell borders and colors. Now, you can you can add cell borders. So let's say when you see a worksheet, you see that it's in like rows and columns, right? And each rows and columns have a border. But depending on your requirement, you can change that border. For example, if you want a thick border, if you want a thin border, if you want the width to be customized as per your requirement, if you just want the border in the top and the bottom lines of that cell and not in the right hand side and the left hand side. So you can actually predefine the borders and use it as per your requirement and how you want it to be, right? Secondly, you can also fill colors in the individual cells by using the option fill color. So let's say, for example, you want alternative cells to be colored, right? You can obviously color your cells depending on your requirement and keep on changing the look and the feel of the cells as per how you want the data to be visualized. Now, there is one way that you analyze the data, clean it up, and then put charts there. But you also want it to be visually pleasing, right? Somebody who will be looking at that data chart or that table, it needs to be visually pleasing. So you can do that as well. You can create the data chart as per in that way. So let's see how to do that. So we will go back and we will go back to the document. Now let's say I want to write something here. I want to write name, age, address and phone number. These are my cells that are there. Now, if I take this, let's say if I select this and I go to home ribbon menu, yeah, you see there's a border where you see a bottom border already written. So there is a 4 cell icon. Click on to the drop down menu beside it. And you see there's bottom border, top border, left border, right border, no border. So if there is no border, that means there is no border in the cell. So the cell will look right as it is. But if I select this and I add, let's say all borders. So then there's a border here. Let's say I put a thick outside border. Then it becomes a thicker outside border. I can also customize it and put a double border if required. As you can see, there is a double border here. Right? Let me zoom into this part. If you see, there's a double border here, right? So this double border can also be done. Now, the other way that you can do it is also you can draw the borders or the grid. This is only advisable if you have a tablet to do this and you're using one of those digital pen. So let's say you have a Surface or a tablet where you're using Microsoft Excel and you have a digital pen. It's always better that you will be able to draw borders there. Otherwise, it is advisable that you can select from any of the list that is already given here and use it for your for formatting the cell, right? So you see how the now to do this, let's say I want all of this to be the same. What you do is you select this, right? Go to format painter and select this three. And you see all of them right now have a double border at the bottom of the cell, right? So this is how the cells are going to be looking. So you can apply one, and in case you want to apply it to all of them, and if they're not in the same row or column, you can always use format painter to formatting those cells, right? Now the next thing that we will learn is how to fill them. For example, I want to fill this with this color, right? And I want all of them to be filled with that color. Again, you select this format painter, and all these three will be colored in that way. But for example, even if it's not in the same row, it's not in the same column, you can again use format painter to do the same. If it's in the same row or same column, obviously you can select till that part and apply the same, right? So that is also possible. This is much more better. Let's say if you want to highlight certain things, for example, if in a data sheet where you find that it requires highlighting, you can fill the cells with the color. Always choose a lighter color, because the cells are anyway, these are like small width and small heighted. So when you are applying a darker color, you might not be able to see it properly if you are specifically scrolling through or printing out that. It's always better to use a light color for this, where the text will be also be seen. Second of all, use autofill specifically for the heading part. If you are freezing the panes there, use color for that. Use color depending on your requirement. Not every cell needs to have a border or a color. Border is something that will be required in case you want to show it as a very particular specific table and all. So instead of including it as a table, you can just give that effect of a table itself by adding borders. For example, let's say if I want to make this a sheet, then what I can do is I can select this much, let's say, and I'll select a bit less. So let me select till here. Yeah, and I can apply border to make me give the feel of a selected part, which is a table, right? So this always works in that way. You can always use borders if you want that, that selected part to look as a table or something. You want to give more focus there, obviously make sure that you are highlighting it as a border and you are applying a border. Similarly, if you want a selected part where you want the target audience to have attention and focus on, make sure that you are using auto filling colors thing in the cells and filling it with lighter shade of colors, which will be easier for the text representation as well.